Good morning. I am Richard Moberly, the Dean of the College of Law, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the commencement exercises for the class of 2021, the 131st class to graduate from the University of Nebraska College of Law. And there's a bonus today. We are also joined by a few members of the class of 2020 who are here today after a year's wait for the opportunity to be formally hooded and walk across the stage. To members of both classes and their guests, welcome. So you all are not nearly excited enough. This is a great day. This is a fantastic day. Let's hear it. There you go. We have to fill this big auditorium. In fact, this is my favorite day of the year because we are here to celebrate the extraordinary hard work and the diligence of this wonderful graduating class as well as the class before it. And we're here to welcome and to thank the people who supported these students throughout their time in law school. I appreciate all of you being here on this very special day. In addition to celebrating today, we must also recognize that this is not our normal ceremony, our normal celebration, for these are not normal times. So much has been disrupted over the last 14 months, and I know we are all uncertain about what the future may bring. Yet despite that uncertainty, I ask you today to focus on some things we can be certain about. I am certain that by graduating from this law school, you have received a tremendous education and developed a flexible mind that will help you overcome whatever challenges lie ahead. I am certain that you are prepared for success in the law or whatever field you pursue. I am certain that you can and will become leaders in your communities and for your clients. And as leaders, I am certain that you will be inclusive and make sure that people with different backgrounds and perspectives will have a seat at the table, which will ensure everyone's success. I am certain that you will advance justice, that you will solve problems, and that you will serve with integrity. Finally, no matter what comes next for you and for our community, I am certain that the University of Nebraska College of Law will always be here for you to help you with your journey. So with that in mind, let's begin our celebration. Will you now please stand, if you're able, for the national anthem sung by graduating 3L Sam Bowie.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Sam. Great job. Today, we have students graduating with Juris Doctor degrees, LLM degrees, Masters of Legal Studies degrees, and in one case, a combination of Juris Doctor and a graduate degree in another field. Most of the graduates here today are receiving their law degree. Those law students have been together as they experience the trials and tribulations of law school. This undoubtedly involved times of high stress and anxiety, but also of intellectual and personal growth. Only those of us who have experienced it know fully the bonds that form during the 3 years of law school and the effect that this education has on one's life. We are grateful that the university permits the Law College to personalize its graduation with this separate commencement ceremony, and we are hopeful that this is only the first of many occasions over the upcoming years and decades when the classes come together to remember and celebrate their time in law school at the University of Nebraska. We are certainly going to follow the progress of the members of the class of 2021 and 2020, and we look forward to many future occasions when we can recognize and celebrate their achievements and success. At this time, I want to thank the administrative staff of the college for all of their hard work in planning and organizing this event. We are lucky to have marvelous administrators and staff at the college, so would the administrators and staff from the college please stand and be recognized? Also, you have been listening to music performed by the Plymouth Brass. Would you please join me in thanking them for their performance today? I'm now pleased to introduce you to the persons on the platform. Would you please stand as your name is called? Please hold your applause until I have introduced everyone. Beginning on this side with today's commencement speaker, the Honorable Rico Bishop, Judge on the Nebraska Court of Appeals. Next, the Honorable Jonathan Papik, Associate Justice of the Nebraska Supreme Court. Moving to this side, Dr. Ronnie Green, Chancellor of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And Student Regent and former UNL Student Body President, Veronica Miller. Please join me in welcoming these distinguished guests. The success of any academic institution depends ultimately on the quality and commitment of the faculty. We are fortunate to have at the college a faculty with a distinguished record of accomplishment in teaching, scholarship, and service to the legal profession in Nebraska and nationally and internationally. Collectively, they have created the college's outstanding program of legal education while engaging in active research and public service. Would the faculty of the College of Law please stand and be recognized? Now, we don't normally single out faculty for recognition at this ceremony. However, I'd like to take a moment to recognize one member of our faculty who is retiring. Professor Steve Bradford has taught generations of law students. He has served this law school and this university for 34 years, and he served it with distinction and loyalty. He could not be here today, but on behalf of the entire Nebraska law community, I wanted to recognize Steve for all that he has done during his career to benefit the college, the state, and our students. Finally, although this is a day of celebration, it is also a day of reflection. With that in mind, before we hear from our university president, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that on top of all of the difficulties we have faced this year as a society, we also faced a tragedy in our own small law school community. In January, second-year law student Macy Jepson passed away unexpectedly. Although she was not in your class, I'm sure some of you knew her and also recognized how painful the event was for our entire community. Yesterday, we gathered with her family to plant a tree in her honor outside of the south entrance to the College of Law. Today, I ask that we take a moment of silence in her memory and to give us an opportunity to reflect on her life as well as the lives of all of those that we have lost during the past year. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce Ted Carter, the president of the University of Nebraska System, who will offer his welcome and congratulations by video.
Hello, I'm Ted Carter, president of the University of Nebraska System. I'm thrilled to congratulate you on earning your degree from Nebraska Law. I also want to recognize the family members, friends, teachers, and all those who have supported our graduates along the way. Success really does take a village. we're celebrating all of you today. As students of the law, you embody the qualities that will make you lifelong learners. Qualities like curiosity, a commitment to truth and justice, a passion for service, an appreciation for reasoned and respectful debate. Your professors and coursework here at Nebraska have done well to instill those values in you. My advice to you is, even though you're completing your education today, is to be a student forever, a lifelong learner. Never stop asking questions. Never stop seeking new knowledge. Never forget that you can learn something from every person and every interaction. Now, you will make mistakes along the way. I certainly have in my life, and your life and career will not always go exactly as planned. You won't always get your first choice, as I have experienced. But at some point, you will find yourself, as I have, in front of a door, unexpectedly open. Walk boldly through it, and do it with the curiosity and courage you have learned here at the University of Nebraska. Now as ever, the practice of law demands the highest standards of integrity, inclusiveness, and justice. The challenges we face today are complex and far-reaching. Because of the education you have received at Nebraska Law, I have every confidence that you, the next generation of legal leaders, will make your mark in advancing justice and solving the biggest problems. As you take your next steps, remember that you are part of the University of Nebraska family forever. I know we'll be seeing great things from you soon. Congratulations again, and thank you for allowing me to be with you today.
Thank you, President Carter. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's student speaker. The class of 2021 has chosen Spencer Hartman, president of the graduating class, to make a few remarks on behalf of the class. Spencer grew up in Imperial, Nebraska, where he served as the Nebraska state president of the Nebraska FFA before coming to UNL as an undergraduate. He majored in agricultural economics and public policy in the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources. While at UNL, he was a student regent and president of the Association of Students at the University of Nebraska. During law school, he clerked at the Bruning Law Group in Lincoln and 11 Talents in Omaha. He successfully led the college's effort to fundraise for Project Wishlist, raising a record $4,000 to provide warm clothes for Lincoln youth. He tells me that besides that accomplishment, the most enjoyable thing he did in law school was participate in the entrepreneurship clinic. After graduation, he will work as an associate attorney for the law firm of O'Neill, Heinrich, Damkroger, Bergmeyer, and Schultz here in Lincoln. I give you Spencer Hartman on behalf of the class of 2021.
Thank you, Dean Moberly. Judge Bishop, Dean Moberly, Chancellor Green, friends and classmates. The day has finally arrived. The hard work, the reading, the studying has all paid off. We not only survived law school, we survived law school during a global pandemic. Congratulations. As I thought about what I wanted to say today, I considered our shared experience and reflected on a number of stories, classes, but I kept coming back to a story that I've heard several years back and thought it was fitting for this occasion and for our profession. It goes like this. When I was a small child during the war, we were very poor and lived in a remote village. One day on the road, I found the broken pieces of a mirror. An army motorcycle had been wrecked in that place. I tried to find all the pieces and put them together, but it was not possible. So I kept the largest piece, this one, and by scratching it on a stone, I made it round. I began to play with it as a toy and became fascinated by the fact that I could reflect light into the dark places where the sun could never shine. It became a game for me to get the light into the most inaccessible places that I could find. I kept the little mirror, and as I grew up, I would take it out at idle moments and continue the challenge of the game. As I became a man, I grew to understand that this was not just a child's game, but a metaphor of what I could do with my life. I came to understand that I am not the light or the source of the light, but light, be it truth, understanding, or knowledge, is there, and it will only shine in the many dark places if we reflect it. I am a fragment of a mirror whose whole design and shape I do not know. Nevertheless, with what I have, I can reflect light into the dark places of this world and change some things in some people. Perhaps others will see and do likewise. I think that this metaphor sums up our law school experience. In the beginning, everything seemed broken and scattered, like fragments laying on the ground. But over time, we sharpened our skills, rounded the rough corners, and developed tools which will help us to reflect light. Our calling now is to use those tools to reflect light into the dark places of this world. As lawyers, we will encounter people on their best days, drafting an estate plan after the birth of a child, helping them pass the family business from one generation to the next, or starting and growing a business of their own. We will help them negotiate a lease, hire their first employee, help them copyright and trademark their next great ideas. But we will also counsel people on their worst days, after the loss of a loved one, during the fight for custody of a child, while filing for bankruptcy, facing eviction, or being charged with a crime. It is my hope that each of us, on these days, recalls that we are a mere fragment of the mirror whose whole shape we do not know, and that it is our task to reflect light into the dark places, to change what we can in and for some people, and to make the world a better place. As a reminder of this metaphor and our noble calling as lawyers, graduates, if you reach under your chair under the right front corner, you'll find a mirror like this one. It is my hope that you will consider putting this mirror in your briefcase or the pocket of your jacket and reflecting from time to time on our calling as lawyers, as counselors, and as reflectors of light into the world. Congratulations, enjoy today, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Spencer. Well done. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Jonathan Papik, Associate Justice of the Nebraska Supreme Court, who will welcome the graduates to the profession on behalf of the court. Justice Papik grew up in Stromsburg, Nebraska, and then earned a Bachelor of Arts in History from University of Northwestern St. Paul, graduating summa cum laude, and a Juris Doctor from Harvard Law School, where he graduated magna cum laude. He clerked for then Judge Neil Gorsuch of the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit and Judge Lawrence Silberman of the United States Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. After clerking, Justice Papik worked for the law firm Klein, Williams, Wright, Johnson, and Oldfather in Omaha until, in 2018, Governor Ricketts announced his appointment to the Nebraska Supreme Court. Please join me in welcoming Justice Papik.
Thank you, Dean Moberly. I am pleased to be here today and also honored to have the opportunity to, on behalf of the entire Nebraska Supreme Court and the Nebraska Judicial Branch, welcome the Nebraska College of Law Class of 2021 to the legal profession. You should be proud of your completion of law school. If your experience was anything like mine, law school was rewarding, but also very challenging. But you've done it. You've mastered proximate cause and the rule against perpetuities. You know about the Constitutional Convention and canons of construction, and you've done it all through a global pandemic. Completing that challenge is a notable accomplishment. But while this is a time for you to be proud of your accomplishment, I believe it is also a time for you to be excited that your moment to enter the legal profession has arrived. I trust that some of you entered law school intent on using a law degree to pursue a specific dream or goal, and that you now have the chance to pursue what led you to law school in the first place. For others of you, perhaps your law school experience helped you discover an interest in a particular area of practice you never would have even thought about 3 years ago. In either case, now is the time for you to put everything you have learned to work. No matter where you intend to begin your career, I am confident you will find that your legal training has not just given you knowledge about the law, It has also sharpened your analytical ability, made you a better listener, and a better verbal and written communicator. It has prepared you to take on whatever lies in front of you. Not only should you be excited about the specific opportunities before you, you should be excited about the character of the community you are about to enter. Particularly if you have chosen to live and practice law in Nebraska, I am confident you will come to greatly appreciate the Nebraska legal community. Nebraska's legal community will mentor and support you as you begin your legal career. Based on my experience, Nebraska lawyers and judges not only will want to get to know you, they will want to do everything they can to help you succeed. They have benefited from being a part of our legal community and will want to help you do the same. I think you will be impressed with the collegiality you will encounter in the legal profession here in Nebraska. By and large, Nebraska lawyers will represent their clients zealously in the courtroom or at the transaction table, but they will do so with respect, kindness, and a recognition that all of us are doing our best to play an important role in preserving the rule of law. While you will benefit from being a part of the legal community and the wider society are counting on your contributions as well. We are counting on the advice you will provide as you help clients navigate difficult legal problems. We are counting on the advocacy you will provide on behalf of those who need a voice in legal disputes. We are counting on the leadership you will provide in every branch and at every level of government, in small businesses, big corporations, and nonprofit institutions. We are also counting on you to provide legal representation in areas where it is particularly needed. There are many rural areas in Nebraska where there are simply not enough lawyers to provide representation for everyone that needs it. In other parts of Nebraska, people simply cannot afford to pay the going rate for legal representation. I understand many of you have already done pro bono work during your time in law school, and I commend you and encourage you to continue in that good work. Whatever and wherever you are headed as you begin your legal career, I encourage you to use your degree in the service of our state and others that need it. I'm genuinely excited for all of today's graduates. I'm hopeful that you are about to begin a career that you enjoy, and I look forward to watching all that you will contribute to your communities and our world in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Papik. It's now my pleasure to introduce the President of the Nebraska State Bar Association, Jill Robb Ackerman, who will welcome the graduates to the profession on behalf of the Bar Association by video. President Robb Ackerman is a partner with the law firm of Baird Holm in Omaha.
Graduates, it's my great honor as President of the Nebraska State Bar Association to congratulate you on behalf of all of our members. Today is a day for celebration. You have shown perseverance in completing a very rigorous legal education, and you've done it in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. I know at times you had to be worried, you had to be uncertain, but you were able to stay focused and complete your goal. Be proud, but temper that pride just a little bit with empathy and concern for those that might not be as fortunate as you. Also, take time to be grateful and thank everybody that helped you get where you are today. Thank your parents, your friends, your family, and your professors. You live in a complex world. You live in a world that is very exciting. I know that you can handle the complexity. I want to see you take your perseverance, your knowledge, and your ingenuity and make the world's best legal system even better for our society today. Think of the Nebraska State Bar Association as your professional family. We're here to help you gain competence, help you with ethics, and improve your professionalism. And we're also a lot of fun to hang out with. So what I'd like to leave you with today is enjoy your day today, continue to grow as lawyers, and I hope to see you again in about 4 months after you've passed that bar and you're going to be admitted to practice before the Nebraska Supreme Court. So stay healthy in the interim, enjoy your summer, but study pretty hard. I want to thank you for your time and attention, and again, I want to congratulate you on behalf of all the members of the Nebraska State Bar Association. Thank you.
I'm now honored to introduce the Honorable Rico Bishop to give the commencement address. Rico Bishop has been a judge with the Nebraska Court of Appeals since August of 2013. She was previously a shareholder with Perry, Guthrie, Haas, and Gesford in Lincoln, where she was a litigation attorney for 20 years. Prior to law school, she was a teacher for many years, and she's also worked in business management. Judge Bishop chairs the Nebraska Supreme Court's Committee on Practice and Procedure and Nebraska's Judicial Branch Education Advisory Committee. She also co-chairs the Appellate Practice section of the Nebraska State Bar Association. Judge Bishop received the 2017 Outstanding Contributor to Women in the Law Award from the NSBA Women in the Law section for her contribution to advancing the rights of women in law, and she was recognized as a 2017 Outstanding Civic Health Partner by the Nebraskans for Civic Reform for frequently speaking to high school and middle school students about the judicial branch of the government. She received the 2018 Warren K. Erbaum Mentor Award from the Robert Van Pelt American Inn of Court for her long-standing service as a role model of professionalism, civility, and mentorship within the legal profession. Judge Bishop regularly volunteers to serve as a judge for the College of Law's National Moot Court Team and other law school moot court competitions. She's a wonderful friend to the College of Law and just simply a tremendous person. We are so fortunate that she was able to join us today to talk with our graduates. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Judge Rico Bishop.
Congratulations, class of 2021 and 2020. What an exhilarating time this is for you graduates. You have reached the end of a journey packed with learning the law, but you have been challenged beyond academics. Importantly, your professors made you think more broadly and more deeply than ever before. So with a sharper mind, the hope is that you will seek beyond what is right or wrong into the gray area between, to the why, and to the what if things were better in some way. Your faculty and staff, led by the amazing Dean Moberly, have given you this great gift. Our public health crisis disrupted many things, including your term at the College of Law. No doubt it was less than ideal. But with the support of many, you weathered the ups and downs of a demanding curriculum. Let's please show our appreciation to the faculty and staff and your family and friends for their support of you in reaching this milestone today. You have all worked hard, and you should be very proud of your law degree. But with this privilege comes responsibility. People will look to you when they need help resolving a problem or a difference of opinion. They will count on you for advice when they have made a terrible mistake or exercised poor judgment, and they will need your help to minimize the civil or even criminal consequences. Lawyers help fix problems in matters large and small. What is small to you may be the final straw for your client. Have you learned patience, compassion? Do you hear or dismiss a plea for help? And what counsel will you give to those seeking an unreasonable outcome? Will you redirect your client to a better path? Is the opposition an enemy to beat at all costs, or should they get the respect of active listening? After all, they have an interest in resolving problems too. The Nebraska Rules of Professional Conduct remind us to zealously protect our clients' legitimate interests within the bounds of the law and to be professional, courteous, and civil to all in the legal system. You must always be the ultimate professional. Rise above the belligerent emails and the antics of bullies. Do not let the poor tactics of others undermine your standards. Our world is a place of troubled waters, as you will see again and again in the lives of your clients. you will be asked in matters large and small to make our world a better place. You will be invited onto boards, committees, and commissions. Your law degree signals to others that you will bring legal expertise to their missions and that they can count on you to be intelligent and ethical. Our ethics reminds us that as an officer of the legal system, we should seek improvement of the law and access to justice. Get involved, not just within our profession, but in our community and state. Make a name for yourself and let your voice be heard. I have loved every minute of serving on committees and boards, both law-related and otherwise. One favorite experience was back at the turn of the century when I spent a decade serving on the Minority Justice Committee, a joint project of the Bar Association and the Supreme Court. Our aim was to look at the racial makeup of Nebraska juries and see if they reflected the makeup of their counties. Turns out they did not. Nearly 70,000 juror qualification forms from 8 of Nebraska's most diverse counties showed minorities were substantially underrepresented in jury pools. We questioned why. How could we make it better? A root cause was that jury lists were drawn from registered voters and drivers, so we asked for new laws to list people with state ID cards, adding 77,000 more potential jurors and changing the jury pool composition to include more minorities. Another change resulted in the refreshing of jury lists more often. Our volunteers spent years addressing these problems. With new laws, Nebraska juries now better reflect their community's population. It feels good to have been part of that change in our state. People will look to you for guidance when we are tested on important social issues. They will respect your standing in the community. You can make a difference. Your leadership in the community, state, and nation can make us stronger as we evolve as a society under our Constitution's principles of equality and justice under the law. In recent times, we have seen these ideals be tested. Will you have the integrity to stand firm on honor and principle when facing enormous social and political controversies? Consider a young Michigan lawyer named Aaron Van Langevelde, a Republican on the 4-person Michigan election canvassing board last year. He was in the eye of the storm, and despite great pressure to do otherwise, he voted to certify the Michigan election results, saying, in part, "We have a clear single duty to uphold the rule of law and comply with our legal duty to certify this election." This young lawyer pointed out that it was the job of the courts to consider evidence of election fraud. And he said, "We're not a court here. We don't have judicial power." For his commitment to the rule of law, this attorney was removed from the canvassing board. But my guess is his story will continue. When I look out at you, and knowing the quality of education you received here, I have great hope that you will make difficult decisions with similar courage, morality, and commitment to our codes and laws. The unrest during your time in law school is a stark reminder that while our country has changed greatly, injustice remains. People write and enforce laws, and people are not perfect. We, the people, must continually work towards a more perfect union. The training you have received and your standing in the community will equip you to be a leader on the moral issues of our time. Sometimes the legal system is unjust because of the people to whom it has been entrusted. Not all lawyers, judges, police officers, clients, and others are upstanding. How will you respond when faced with unethical or biased or dishonest people? If you have not yet read the book Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, please put it on your post-bar exam to-do list. The main theme is the wrongful conviction of Walter McMillian, a Black man sentenced to death in 1988 for the murder of an 18-year-old white woman in Monroeville, Alabama. The jury recommended a life sentence. but the trial judge imposed the death penalty, a practice permitted under Alabama law. When Stevenson got involved with the case, he showed that local authorities pressured witnesses to lie and that police covered up important evidence. Ultimately, McMillian was released after spending 6 years on death row. And if you think that is bad, there's more. 2 weeks after he met McMillian, Stevenson's receptionist told him that a Robert E. Lee was on the phone. She was not joking. Stevenson answered and asked how he could be of help. Here is what he heard. "Brian, this is Robert E. Lee Key. Why in the hell would you want to represent someone like Walter McMillian? Do you know he's reputed to be one of the biggest drug dealers in all of South Alabama?" Stevenson replied, "Sir?" The voice then said, "This is Judge Key, and you don't want to have anything to do with this McMillian case." Judge Key said he would not appoint some out-of-state lawyer to the case and told Stevenson to withdraw. Well, Stevenson explained that he lived in Atlanta, Georgia, but he was admitted to the Alabama bar. The judge persisted, telling Stevenson he would not appoint him because McMillian was not indigent. He had money buried all over Monroe County. When Stevenson said he was doing the case pro bono, he was interrupted by a dial tone. He recalled, "I spent several minutes thinking we'd been accidentally disconnected before realizing that a judge had just hung up on me. If you had not already guessed it, it was Judge Robert E. Lee Key who overrode the jury's life sentence to impose the death penalty upon McMillian." Stevenson writes in his book, "Each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done." He goes on, "We are all implicated when we allow other people to be mistreated. An absence of compassion can corrupt the decency of a community, a state, a nation. Fear and anger can make us vindictive and abusive, unjust and unfair, until we all suffer from the absence of mercy and we condemn ourselves as much as we victimize others. We all need mercy, we all need justice, and perhaps we all need some measure of unmerited grace." His words bring to mind the racial reckoning confronting our country after seeing a horrific video running 9 minutes and 29 seconds. We have been forced to look again into the gray mist of excessive force, civic unrest, and the perils our police officers face each day. In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. decried the unspeakable horrors of police brutality in his "I Have a Dream" speech. That was 58 years ago. And yet here we are today, watching that video and seeing our streets erupt. On Bloody Sunday in 1965, 600 people marched peacefully across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, defending their right to vote. They were brutally attacked by law enforcement. The Voting Rights Act passed that year, and yet more than half a century later, people in predominantly Black communities stood in lines for 5, 6, 10 hours to exercise their right to vote last year. How is that possible? How can we do better? Sometimes the legal system is unjust through bad laws. In 1855, Nebraska passed a law prohibiting interracial marriages. At first, this was applied to people with 1/4 more of, quote, Negro, Japanese, or Chinese blood who were forbidden from marrying white people. Later, this was expanded to include those with 1/8 such blood. Then in 1867, the Nebraska Territorial Legislature refused to allow children from different races to mix in our schools. Our legislature explained that, quote, "The people of Nebraska are not yet ready to send white boys and white girls to school to sit on the same seat with Negroes." It went on to say it was not ready to endorse the interbreeding of people of different races. It also stated that it was, quote, "far from ready to degrade their offspring to a level with so inferior a race." This attitude evolved with subsequent generations. It may seem unreal today, but interracial marriage was banned in much of our country. In the 1960s, my father was an airman in the U.S. Air Force, and he requested orders to Nebraska. He was told to defer this request because he was married to a Japanese woman, and this was against Nebraska law. I was 7 years old when Nebraska finally took this law off its books. 4 years later, in 1967, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Loving versus Virginia said states could not infringe upon the freedom to marry a person of another race. In that case, a white man and a black woman married and were convicted of violating a Virginia law. That state's Supreme Court justified the law because it was designed, quote, to preserve the racial integrity of its citizens and to prevent a mongrel breed of citizens and the obliteration of racial pride. The U.S. Supreme Court held that this was obviously an endorsement of the doctrine of white supremacy. In 1857, the Dred Scott case hastened our path to civil war. In 1896, Plessy versus Ferguson endorsed racial separation under its separate but equal doctrine. The highest court in our country stated, if one race be inferior to the other socially, the Constitution of the United States cannot put them on the same plane. It took 6 decades for the separate but equal doctrine to be condemned in the decision of Brown versus Board of Education. In August 1955, a year after Brown, 14-year-old Emmett Till, a black child, was murdered in Mississippi after being accused of flirting with a white woman in a store. The woman's husband and brother marched Emmett to the bank of the Tallahatchie River and ordered him to strip. They beat him nearly to death, gouged out his eye, shot him in the head, and after tying him with barbed wire to a cotton gin fan, they threw his body into the river. The men were found not guilty by an all-white jury in less than an hour. The white woman later recanted her story. Can the law change hate? Perhaps not, but we must try to do better. I have shared with you a few pieces of our history, our mistakes, our prejudices, our painful losses and lessons. There is no easy solution, but I think that the answers may be found in compassion. Do we use the power of forgiveness? Can that make a difference? I often think about the video of Lincoln police officers dancing at the Malone Center with black and brown members of the community just days and nights before they were facing off in conflict during the George Floyd protests. The joyful gathering at the Malone Center gave me hope. I think about Minnesota's Attorney General in the Derek Chauvin case telling 60 Minutes that he felt a little bad for Chauvin. He said, I think he deserved to be convicted, but he's a human being. Compassion and grace are vital to making us a better country. This may be what Brian Stevenson had in mind when he said, we all need mercy, we all need justice, we all need some measure of unmerited grace. Your generation inherits these many challenges from those who came before you. As William Faulkner wrote, never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustice and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth. Your law degree raises you up. While I was not born to a life of privilege, UNL College of Law changed my life. I never would have thought of myself playing a role in history, but in January 2016, the Nebraska Supreme Court was short of justices to hear an argument on a case. It is not unusual for the Supreme Court to ask a judge from our court to join them when their numbers fall short. So there I was, in the consultation room after oral arguments with 4 Supreme Court justices, 2 men and 2 women. Justice Castle looked around the table and noted we had made history. It was the first time the Nebraska Supreme Court had more female than male judges sitting on a case. We all grinned widely, and Justice Stacy and I shared a fist bump. An Omaha World Herald headline read, "Women made up the majority of sitting judges on Nebraska Supreme Court for a brief historic moment." Not long before that, Judge Frankie Moore and Judge Francie Riedman and I sat together, forming the first ever all-female Court of Appeals panel. What an honor to be part of both these historic moments. As a judge at the Capitol, I am often asked to present to many children coming in on school tours. I enjoy this a lot, particularly when students of color seem to beam a little brighter when they see my brown face. A group of teens from Omaha's Lewis and Clark Middle School, largely English as a second language students, filled the courtroom. Lots of black and brown faces staring back at me. Following my presentation, we chatted. It was an enthusiastic session. Young girls wearing hijabs asked, "How should I react when people stare at me in mean ways?" Things like that. As the class was leaving, several girls came over for hugs. One said she wanted to be just like me. What an honor to be there for this beautifully diverse group of children and to see the strength emerging from a new generation. As a lawyer, one of my favorite moments involved a black woman who was fired as an apprentice plumber at an all-white, all-male place of employment. She was denied relief through the Nebraska Equal Opportunity Commission, and no lawyers were willing to help her as a result. When she sat in my office, I could feel her frustration and her devastation. I saw that her problem was in how she presented her story. She spoke fast and randomly, so I had to hit the pause button to often fill in key facts in an organized timeline. I took her case to a federal jury. Her employer argued she was incompetent. We showed the jury the appalling racial and gender bias in her workplace. We won a six-figure verdict. But winning was not the best moment. Instead, during the trial, I had just completed the cross-examination of one of my client's coworkers. He conceded that my client was a good worker, a hard worker. She did everything that was asked of her. And at that moment, my client slipped over to me a torn piece of paper from a legal pad on which she had written, "I love you, Rico." She had been vindicated. She had regained a sense of worth. I still have that piece of paper. And I sincerely believe that for that witness, a bit of him was made whole by telling the truth. I hope that all of you will enjoy similar rewards in making the legal system work for the benefit of all of us, because in those instances, you will understand the true gift of your law degree. Whether you excelled in law school or not makes no difference as to the kind of lawyer you can be. Your character, work ethic, and professionalism, your compassion for people, your respect for the law, those traits will define you. As you leave today, raise your head and your spirit as you take your place in this noble profession. As U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, "To make life a little better for people less fortunate than you, that's what I think a meaningful life is. One lives not just for oneself, but for one's community. Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." I look forward to seeing how each of you chooses to do that. Congratulations, graduates.
Thank you so much, Judge Bishop. That was a wonderful message. We will now confer the degrees on the class of 2021. Will the faculty helping with the hooding of the graduates please take their positions? 107 students will earn their Juris Doctor degrees today, and one of them will also receive Masters of Business Administration from the UNL College of Business. 5 others from the class of 2020 who earned their degrees last year will be hooded today. 12 graduates will be receiving plaques along with their diplomas as they followed in the footsteps of someone else in their family by graduating from the University of Nebraska College of Law. We are humbled that someone who has already walked through our halls thinks enough of us to send a family member for whom they care deeply our way. Congratulations on continuing that family tradition. In addition, 9 students will receive their LLM degrees in space, cyber, and telecommunications law, and 1 additional student will be recognized for having received their LLM in 2020. The LLM is a post-JD specialized degree. Nebraska is the only law school in the world offering degrees in space, cyber, and telecommunications. 2 students will be receiving a Master of Legal Studies degree, which is a graduate degree for people in non-legal careers where an understanding of the law would be valuable. We welcome all of the MLS and LLM students in this ceremony as we are very proud of their accomplishments, and we wish them all the best in the exciting careers upon which they will soon embark. There are professional photographers present who will take photographs of each graduate being hooded, and then also, after they leave the stage, in front of the Husker background. To formally confer the degrees, I'm pleased to introduce again Chancellor Ronnie Green. Dr. Green holds degrees in animal science and genetics from Virginia Tech, Colorado State University, and the University of Nebraska. Dr. Green became the university's chancellor in 2016 after serving in several other leadership roles at the university. He will be very busy this weekend as he's attending multiple undergraduate and graduate ceremonies, and I very much appreciate Chancellor Green helping us schedule our graduation in the midst of these other graduations so that he could attend today. So will the candidates please rise? Chancellor Green, it is my pleasure to present to you and to the Board of Regents from the College of Law those persons who have satisfied all of the requirements for the degree Juris Doctor, Master of Legal Studies, Master of Laws, and where appropriate, the degree of Master in Business Administration.
Before I officially confer the degrees on you, I just want to take a little bit of personal privilege here and congratulate you on your persistence. It's not lost on me that almost 40% of your law degree time was spent in a public health pandemic. Congratulations on your persistence, on your commitment, and thanks to the faculty and Dean Moberly, the college, as well, for that as well. By authority of the state of Nebraska, vested in the Board of Regents, I confer upon each of you the degree Juris Doctor, Master of Legal Studies, Master of Laws, and where appropriate, the degree of Master in Business Administration, and admit you to the rights and privileges of these degrees. Congratulations from all of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Thank you, Chancellor Green. Graduates, in recognition of your achievements, you will be hooded by members of the Law College faculty. I have the honor of presenting you with your diploma. Normally, I would shake your hand. We're not going to do that today, but if you feel the need to give me a fist bump or an elbow bump or do the Carlton or whatever you want to do while you're up here, I'll join you in whatever you lead me to. I'll now turn the podium over to the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs, Dr. Mark Pierce, to read the names of the graduates. Graduates, please come forward when Dean Pierce calls your name.
We will begin with the LLM class of 2021. First graduate is DeAndre S. Augustus. Garrett S. Bowman. Sebastian M. Garcia. Participating online, we have Travis Lieb. Jeffrey Sullivan. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the graduates in the LLM class of 2021. We have a member of the LLM class of 2020 participating today. That is Robert Kulis. We have a member of the class of 2021 who's receiving an MLS degree today, participating online, Pitagay G. Klahar. And now we will present the JD degrees for the class of 2021. Melissa J. Ariza with distinction. Paul K. Bachman with distinction. Madison L. Barbie with high distinction. Madison is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque today. Benjamin P. Barrett, who's also receiving a Family Traditions plaque today. Shayna N. Bartow with highest distinction. Samuel S. Bowie with highest distinction. Anna M. Bowerly. Andrew N. Benefiel with distinction. Cole A. Bodfield. Madeline E. Brandstetter. Claudia W. Brock with distinction. Lauren E. Brown. Mason T. Brown. Ryan C. Brown. Robert L. Bryant IV. Caitlin A. Bundy, who's also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Carly E. Burkhart with high distinction. Nathan L. Canelia. Keith Catt with distinction. Callie June Christensen. Taylor Nicole Christopher. Emily Melissa Coffey with distinction. Emily is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Connor J. Coughlin. Katie M. Curtis with high distinction. She is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque today. Carolyn Camille Davis with high distinction. Carolyn is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Marshall T. Dean with distinction. Hunter R. Dunlap with distinction. Hunter, too, is receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Okay. We'll let you graduate, Tyler, I promise. Tyler A. Egenis. We have an online participant today, Alyssa Ehlers Anderson, who's participating virtually. Okay. Joel D. Einfeld with distinction. Joel has also earned his MBA degree today. Dylan R. Folkert. Alexis R. Foster. Alyssa K. Faust with high distinction. Kaylin N. Frericks with distinction. Curtis H. Fuller. Matthew D. Furrow with distinction. James R. Glover with high distinction. Nicholas K. Grangenet with distinction. Brian M. Halsey is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Spencer R. Hartman with distinction. John J. Hawk, Jr. Seth W. Hawkins. Haley J. Hearn with high distinction. Nathan K. Hines. Bran N. Hellstrom. Deanna M. Hobbs. Caleb R. Hazing. Andrea M. Holtzen. Wilson J. Hupp with distinction. Robert A. Hutchison. Dana R. Juergensmeyer. Benjamin N. Karish. Daniel E. Kemp. Keely M. Clevin with distinction. Tierra R. Crummel is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Robert E. Larson. Sarah B. Lautza. Tessa M. Lingling. Natalie T. Lips. Ariana Lopez. Rachel N. Lowe. Caitlin A. Madsen with high distinction. Lydia L. Mann. Lydia is also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Asia L. Martin. Michael J. Madunagi. Sarah Meyer with distinction. Carson K. Messersmith with distinction. Aaron J. Miller. Sarah A. Mears. Alex J. Montoya. Caitlin B. Morehouse. Kelly P. Morford. Alyssa A. Mumi. Mauricio Murgarios with distinction. Jackie Newland. Nolan J. Neas with distinction. Dylan J. O'Doherty. Sarah O'Neill with distinction. Sarah Osentowski. Sydney Pfeiffer. Adam J. Pedraza. Jackson T. Powell. Jackson's also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Cohen W. Preble. Luciano A. Ramirez Guerra. Jessica K. Robinson with highest distinction. Olivia Elizabeth Russell. John T. Schmidt. Allison Ray Seiler with distinction. Alyssa R. Slama with distinction. Remington S. Slama with highest distinction. Matthew H. Soltis. Amy L. Sonnenfeld with distinction. Gabrielle M. Stedwell. Joshua A. Stevenson with distinction. Blake T. Stokes with distinction. Blake's also receiving a Family Traditions plaque. Quinlan A. Stoles. Tristan S. Taylor. Sarah J. Tungis with high distinction. Joshua Ippolito Valdez. Zachary C. Vancouvering with high distinction. Elizabeth M. Widener. Amy L. Wazorek. Allison M. Witkowski. Cheng Kevin Zhang. Now we will present JDs for the class members from 2020 who returned to participate with us today. First is Tyler W. Barnard with distinction. Alexandria M. Bartles. Stuart Kane Gadarian. Alyssa A. Hine Bumgardner. And Scott G. Smith. Honored guests, please join me in congratulating all of our graduates that we're celebrating today. Congratulations.
These are the times that test leaders. I'm not talking about COVID or the last year. I'm talking about a situation where the photograph line backs up and you don't expect it. So what do you do when you're in my situation? You will displease somebody, but that's the plight of a leader. So we're going to take a moment and let everyone get their pictures. I'm afraid if we try and catch it afterwards, we won't be able to do it. So talk amongst yourselves. It's a beautiful day. Talk about Judge Bishop's speech, which was mind-provoking, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thanks.
That's why. So it should be May of, no, I guess it was May of 18. May of 19. but May of 18th.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
My point was, and we had presidents literally put all of it out that way. And it was all the way out of the firm. So we were out of places before. The last year we were in,
And at that point, it's like,
my only concern, and so we dealt with May of 19th.
but then that's only for the spring, so like August and December, you get undergraduates. More to do
So in August, we used to do
right, there's more to do helping this part. They are so empowered to go through these things, so I really hope. Yeah, but I feel like the education.
which is about
You better hope they don't stay closed. We've got one in Coeur d'Alene, one in New York City, and one in Hawaii.
Well, that's way up.
That's where the grandbaby is. Every day my husband wants us to just
Maybe not all the ones that you forgot that you
I had to
I keep
write
saying
out
she's going to
several
college
pages
next
of
week.
my presentation where I was getting a little negative.
and this class is
But
bigger
there are some who don't very much.
baseline.
But the key is
should have
to
been
rise above that.
Now, was I noticed that
closer to 37. Because of this
She did. We did the dorms first semester. Yeah. Didn't really make much sense to spend and her roommate was
See, I was kind of nervous for what the graduation rates would look like.
and I looked at the
This is all like anecdotal stories that I think a lot of people starting the first and trying to finish it, and they just like,
well, I guess with that,
it's about 75 and another woman.
right.
For a long period of time, and they had about 12 because they could do it. So they sold me this house for but even that was not two bedroom, it's just right up. It was in one class this year, regular size.
That's the one place I would not buy a rate.
Oh, really?
I have one by the Capitol tonight. And I keep, I want to buy a house right now for late, but you can't buy a house for late. Normally are like 340, 140. My Zillow search for Coeur d'Alene, the under 300.
Some of them are all the way over the summer, but a lot of law schools are really.
I don't think it
I'm hoping the market cycles. I heard that the real estate market.
There were some, what's the typical percentage of problems?
oh yeah.
Usually lose, I don't know, but just
There was a period of time we used to have a contract.
it could be at 160 or something.
You just sit here and watch it.
All right. That's because I want to say my general class was about 160 to start, but it really dropped. That was when they were
Period of time,
high
it was
school.
who would have the highest.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that well-planned and thoughtful moment to catch up with your neighbor. Congratulations. So now what we really need to do is turn our attention back to the people who matter today, which are the graduates. Congratulations, graduates. Now that your degrees have been conferred, academic tradition calls for you to move your tassels to the left side of your tam, so please do that now. We are about to conclude this celebration, but before we do, I want to add my congratulations and thanks to the members of the class of 2021 and the class of 2020. I know this is not how any of us envisioned your law school career ending, but you have persevered and kept working through extraordinary times to achieve this accomplishment. You have so much to be proud of, and you have demonstrated that really no obstacle is too high for you to surmount. To end our celebration today, I want to take you briefly back to the beginning of your law school career. On August 15th, 2018, I welcomed you to Nebraska Law with two ideas. First, that with a law degree, you have the opportunity to make your life's work matter in a way that no other degree can offer. Second, to get that law degree and use it to its fullest potential, you had to make the next 3 years matter. And I know that watching your class for the last 3 years that you took me seriously on the second admonition. You engaged with the College of Law, your classes and your classmates, and you made a significant impact on this law school. I have greatly appreciated you collectively as a class, and I thank you for your effort to make this a better place. Now, you have the opportunity to take me up on my first challenge. What will you do now that you have a degree that will allow you to make a difference in our nation, our community, and in individual people's lives? I told you in 2018 that we have never needed lawyers more, and I think that statement is even more true today after a devastating year. The legal issues that have confronted people as a result of the COVID pandemic are profound and widespread, including unemployment issues, small business survival, healthcare access, and housing evictions. During this year, we have also witnessed extraordinary demands for racial equity and unprecedented protests against systemic racism. Again, lawyers and those who strive to advance justice will be able to make a significant impact on long-standing challenges facing our country regarding race, gender, class, and opportunity. You have unique talents, knowledge, and skills because of the education that you received at Nebraska Law. And I encourage you, whether through your everyday job or through pro bono service, to help lead your community through these challenges. Because of your degree, you will be looked to as a leader. And I'm asking you to embrace that mantle. We need you as leaders and as lawyers more than ever before. Given all that you have accomplished and overcome before you have even graduated, I'm highly confident that you're going to continue on this successful path that you have started, and you will do amazing things with your degree and with the education that you received here. You've served our country as members of the military, and some of you will continue to do so after graduation. You've served those less fortunate than you, and some of you will continue that work after graduation as well. You've served all sorts of clients in our 5 clinical programs, and of course, many of you will continue serving clients throughout your career. In other words, you are fully prepared to join this service profession, having demonstrated that service is the true nature of our calling as attorneys. Speaking for the faculty, we have seen your incredible growth as students of the law. We can bear witness to the fact that you have made great strides in your ability to think analytically, to solve complex problems, and counsel clients compassionately. We've appreciated your hard work and your dedication to the rigors of this academic undertaking, and most importantly, we thank you for leaving the law school a better place than when you arrived. There's no doubt that you've worked very hard to make it to this day. However, you likely did not get here alone. I'm sure there are others who helped you make it here, parents, spouses, partners, children, grandparents, and all manner of friends and colleagues. I salute those people and thank them, and I ask that our graduates please take another moment to acknowledge those people for all they have done to support you. Now, the time has come to conclude this celebration and to send you on your way, secure in the knowledge that you are prepared and ready for even more success. Once again, I offer my congratulations, both personally and on behalf of the Law College and the faculty, to each of you and to your families and friends. In a moment, we will begin the formal recessional. We request that those of you in the audience remain seated until the recessional has left the floor. To the class of 2021, and to the members of the class of 2020 here with us today, with hope for and high expectations of continued success, and with anticipation of your continued involvement as alumni of the Law College, I declare these exercises adjourned.
Thank you.